Welcome to Sarat Chandra IAS Academy, where your dreams are our mission. This is Yatharth here. Today we'll be talking about more news. We'll be covering many more different things. So coming to this news, let's talk in brief. So rice production to dip 3.7% due to uneven monsoon. In the last lecture also we talked about the economic outlook by RBI and the GDP growth downfall. So uneven monsoon was one of the things that we talked about, and here we can see the news. India, Qatar, and natural gas. So liquid natural gas we talked about in the last lecture also, that India depends upon Qatar for its LNG, and the recent news about the 8 officials which were sentenced to death in Qatar. So it may have some effect on the diplomatic relations. Again about this, PM to lay foundation for Amrit Vatka. So we'll very simply see what is this Amrit Vatka. Adani port map rise in 10 years. There was a question PYQ on private ports in 2023 prelims. So we may have to revise these port things again. Vikram landed up 2 tons of lunar dust. So we'll talk about the Vikram lander once again, about the Chandrayaan mission. In the last lecture, we talked about the Gaganyaan mission. A China-India partnership, its vast global potential. In the last lecture, we talked about the China-Bhutan boundary talks and India's view on it. In this lecture, we'll be talking about how China and India can cooperate. We'll also understand the term dark pattern sales. Alright, what are these? Then come to Mizoram, which has the highest cancer incidence rate, and appoint civil defense volunteers, etc. We'll see all this. So let's start with the India, Qatar, and natural gas news. So why news? For first of all, so the death sentence given to 8 former personnel of the Indian Navy by a court in Qatar presents the biggest challenge yet to India's historically friendly ties with Doha. Doha is the capital city of Qatar. Alright, and we must note that India has historically friendly ties. So it has worked as an ally in the area. The situation is particularly concerning due to the pivotal role of the liquefied natural gas in the trade partnership between the two nations. So India imports at least around 48% of LNG from Qatar. What is LNG now? It also we must see. Alright, so India constitute, and what is the difference between the NG, that is natural gas, and LNG? Alright, so constitutes nearly half of India's total imports in terms of value from Qatar, amplifying the complexity of the challenge at hand. So let's see very quickly what is this natural gas. Alright, this is for us to see. So natural gas has many components. Most of it is methane. Alright, methane is basically CH4. Alright, we'll see it like this. This is meth, eth, bute, and propane. So for the science and tech portion, we can just simply remember meth. Just let me change the pen color. Okay, so this is meth, eth, propane, and bute, let's say. So carbon has 4 bonds, 4 free sides for anything to attach to it. Alright, so when it is not attached to any carbon, only with hydrogen, which is CH4, then it makes the methane or methane. Then if there are 2 carbons which are attached to each other and remaining are occupied with hydrogen, and it's ethane. Alright, when the carbon becomes 3, then it is propane, and when there are 4 carbons to any chain, it becomes butane. Alright, so this has the highest quantity of methane, which is CH4. There are minuscule quantities of the H4. So what are they essentially? They are hydrocarbon gases. Hydrocarbon gases. Alright, what do we get energy from? We get energy from breaking this bond, which is the CH bond. It has energy here. Alright, when this bond gets broken, it releases some sort of energy and heat, which is of use in the NG. Now, in order to carry this NG or natural gas, we need some easiness. So how liquefied natural gas is made? So clean natural gas is cleaned of impurities, and then it's liquefied after being cooled to minus 160 degree Celsius. So after it's liquefied, it can be filled in whenever there is any liquid, let's say. So the volume of liquid will be lesser than the volume of similar amount of gas. So when gas is compressed or cooled, it turns into liquid. There's a simple portion of the gas theory, you don't need to read it. Alright. There's a simple equation, PV is equal to nRT. So via it, we can see when the pressure is increased, all right, then the volume will decrease in order to keep the temperature same. Here what we are doing, we are decreasing the temperature, all right, and increasing the pressure. So volume have to be decreased. Okay, let's move forward. So what is the global energy market here? The global energy market is seller's market. Okay, that means it is based or biased towards sellers because supply is lesser than the demand. After Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the sanctions that have disrupted Russian natural gas supplies to Europe. So Russia is undergoing sanctions. So after the war broke out, prices, particularly of LNG export cargoes, surged globally. Surge means there was an increase. Compare with term contracts such as one Prestonet has with Qatar, the export LNG market is prone to higher price volatility. Alright, so depending upon the fluctuating demand and supply curves, alright, the price is going to be volatile. So in a supply glut, that means when the supply is less, spot prices tend to fall more steeply than the term contracts, as pricing in the latter is based on agreed formula between the buyer and the seller. And when supplies are tight, glut means high, spot prices tend to rise much more than term contract rates. The extreme price volatility of the past couple of years in global energy market has established the term contracts are the more viable option to secure supplies at a reasonable and stable price. So basically volatility is more right now because the supply and demand curves are fluctuating. Alright, so there are some term contracts that between this term and this term, the prices are to be offered on certain rates regardless of the supply demand curve. Okay, so this is essentially what's saying. So this has pushed LNG importers all over the world, including India, to scout for long-term contracts with major suppliers, of whom Qatar is the foremost. So India has long-term contract with Qatar. So over the past few weeks, Doha has announced 27-year LNG supply deals with French, Dutch and Italian energy majors. In the preceding months, it has signed long-term contracts to supply LNG to China and Germany as well. So this is the Europe getting LNG from Qatar essentially. Petronet's term contracts are announced in 2028 and negotiations for an extension are currently underway. India is also looking to sign more long-term LNG contracts. So future of LNG market, essentially what we need to see is that we need to make long-term contracts with Qatar. So we cannot sever our relationship with the Doha right now. We need to keep maintaining a diplomacy because the world economy is very volatile right now due to several reasons such as Russia-Ukraine war, the Middle East crisis, as well as the COVID effect. Okay, so the prices are being volatile and we have long-term need of the LNG, which we are making 48% from the Qatar. That is why we need to maintain a diplomacy with Qatar. And right now it's being challenged by the death sentence that it has around to 8 Indian Navy officers. So this is the mind maps simply of this news. You can read about this. Let's talk about the maps here. So this is the Qatar, which this is the sea area of the Qatar North Field. It is an SEZ. And this is Qatar-Iran border, the sea border. So from here, the North Field, it extracts the natural gas. Okay, so this is the Qatar's gas reserves. They are mostly located in the sea. The volume and value you can see here, FY23 LNG imports from Qatar. So they were 10.74 million tons. Okay, and value of $8.32 billion USD. So this all you can see in your mapping portion. And add to your GS3 notes as well. Okay, now coming to the second news, then when we talk about the Adani ports. So the news basically focuses on the rise of the Adani ports over the coastline of India. So we do not want to deal with this. What we need to deal with is the major and minor ports of India. Okay, because this is of our use. So coming to this Gujarat region, the lower Gujarat region, there are two ports here, Dahej and Tuna port. Then there's Mundra port. Mundra port is significant. Dighi and Mormugao port. Mormugao port is also very significant. Karaikal, Ennore, this Ennore port is also very significant. It was asked in 2023 question. Then there are Krishnapatnam, Gangavaram and Dharmakot, etc. etc. Alright. So Mundra port you can see here it is 254 MMT, million metric tons. So it's one of the biggest port. Alright. Okay, let's come to the So here you can see various ports. Just a second. This is Deen Dayal Port Trust, also named as the Kandla Port. This is in Gujarat. All of these are in Gujarat, whether it's Porbandar or Mundra Port or Veravel or JNPT, Jawaharlal Nehru Port Trust. Very important. Alright, Bhavnagar, Bharuch and Surat ports are also in Gujarat. This is Ratnagiri Port in Maharashtra, Panji, Mormugao in Goa, and Mangaluru Port Trust. It's one of the biggest port trusts in Bangalore. There is Kochi and Alappuzha in Kerala, Tuticorin and Nagapattinam. Ennore Port Trust, this was in question and from Chennai. Alright, and then Krishnapatnam, Machilipatnam, Kakinada, Vishakhapatnam, this is one of the important ports. Paradeep and Haldia. Paradeep is in Odisha and Haldia port is in West Bengal. Alright, so these are the major ports and intermediate sea ports of India. Let's come to the PYQ, which was asked in 2023. Kamarajar Port, first major port in India registered as a company. Mundra Port, largest privately owned port in India, and Vishakhapatnam Port, largest container port in India. So let's see about this, how many pairs are correctly matched. So Kamarajar Port, the first talked about, it's located in Ennore in Tamil Nadu near Chennai. It's the only corporate port owned by the Indian government, hence pair 1 is correct. This port was formed as a company under the Companies Act when it was opened in 2001. And Ennore Port is located on the Coromandel coast. So this here, about 18 km north of Chennai Port, Chennai. It's 12th major port in India. It's the first port of India which is a public company. So take care about this Ennore Port. The Kamarajar Port Limited is only corporation major port and registered as a company. Alright, so the first statement is correct. Let's come to the second one. So the largest privately owned port in India is Mundra Port. So we already saw in the news. Located in the Kutch district of Gujarat. It's owned by the Adani Ports. So this is what we saw in the news. So hence pair 2 is correct. It's owned and operated by Adani Ports and Special Economic Zone Limited, APSEZ. Mundra Port is one of the major ports in India and has been crucial for country's trade due to its capacity to handle a high volume of cargo. Mundra Port, India's biggest commercial port by volumes, has overtaken state-run JNPT to become the country's largest container gateway by handling 5.65 million 20-foot equivalent unit. So statement 3 is incorrect. JNPT is not the... Just a second. Let's see the options. So Vishakhapatnam Port is not the largest container port in India. Okay, it's the Mundra Port now. Earlier it was JNPT. Okay, let's come to the next news, which is about the Amrit Vatika. So let's see very quickly what's this Amrit Vatika. Not very important, but still we should see. So the event will mark finale of Meri Mati Mera Desh campaign at Kartavya Path. So this is near the India Gate. Okay, and there's a garden is to be located, which will be known as Amrit Vatika. A memorial lawn will be built next to the India Gate in area of 12,000 square meter. It has been earmarked. Okay, so it will be adjacent to the Netaji's Bose statue under the grand canopy at the National Wall Memorial, and will be the newest landmark that celebrates 75 years of independence and honors the valor of unsung freedom fighters. So this you can add in the notes. Okay, it marks the birth anniversary of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. The Mera Yuva Bharat initiative will be launched, etc., etc. So not very important. You can just add it in the notes. Let's come now to the important news, which is affecting the economic outlook of India. So uneven monsoon, which will dip the rice production. So we'll be reading about the rice crop as well from a static point of view. Alright, still let's see the uneven monsoon of India right now. So these are the states. You can see various states. The monsoon deficient states have been Uttar Pradesh, Bihar. Alright, and here Karnataka and Kerala side. So in 2023, we are talking about rest of the states have a varied to excess rainfall. Alright, coming towards Madhya Pradesh, etc. But these are the states where rice is often produced in the Odisha, West Bengal area and Bihar and Uttar Pradesh area. Alright, so let's see this. So India's rice production for the year, basically Kharif season. So it's a Kharif crop. Please remember, rice is a Kharif crop. Is estimated at around 1,000 lakh million tons, reflecting a 3.7% decrement compared to the previous years. And this production estimate is also lower than the 2021-22 figure of more than 1,000 LMT, 1100 LMT. The decline in the rice production attributed to irregular monsoon rainfall distribution despite an increased area under the paddy cultivation. The area for rice production in 2023 Kharif season estimated 411 lakh hectares, up from 404 lakh hectares in 2022. So there is a slight increment in the area, but due to the uneven rainfall, there will be a decrement in the production. This was also a PYQ that was asked in 2023. India versus China agriculture. Okay, so this you can see. So notably, the area under rice cultivation has increased by 2 lakh hectare compared to the previous year and 4.5 lakh hectare about the average rice area. Rice production is also projected to be approximately 1 lakh ton higher than average Kharif rice production. Okay. So let us see other Kharif crops also. Okay, because often questions are coming about MSRP, which crops are covered under MRP and all that. Okay, so there is a multi-course cereal. There are sugarcane. Sugarcane is also a Kharif crop. Its production is estimated higher than the last year. And India has imposed export restrictions on various agriculture products, including non-basmati white rice, due to concerns related to food grain stocks, cereal prices, and erratic monsoon during the Kharif season. So basically, we are exporting majorly the basmati rice, and non-basmati rice is for the domestic demand. It has been very unfortunate for India that the good products have always been more exported than consumed. Okay. Okay, let's talk about the rice. So the seasonally it's a Kharif crop, monsoon crop, and Rabi crop. It's harvested in the Rabi season when the Rabi cropping starts, but it's a Kharif crop. It's sown in the October-November area, October-November months. There are more different Kharif crops such as maize, millets, cotton. Cotton is very important. Bajra, urad, jute, etc. Sowing time is June to July. All right. And yields are gathered in the October to November. So this is mistype here. Largest producers are Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, Punjab, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh. All right, these two have been these two states have been rainfall deficit. Total production is approximately 117 million metric tons. All right, and prominent varieties are basmati. These are some examples of basmati and non-basmati, Sona, Masuri, etc. India's place in exports. So it has been the top exporter, first or second place mostly. All right, so India is one of the world's largest rice exporter, consistently ranks among the top 3 rice exporters nations. In recent years, it has exported around 10 to 12 million metric tons of rice annually. Okay, let's come to the next term and next news, which is more important for us, about the dark pattern sales. So what are these dark pattern sales? Okay, this can come as a direct question that what are these dark pattern sales? So you must have seen when booking a flight that not many seats are, let's say, shown free, or only these middle seats are shown free seats. These are all charged seats. Okay, and even these are charged, and you will not know whether you will be auto assigned a seat or not. Okay, so basically this sums up the dark patterns. So what are dark patterns? This is on focus. So they are deceptive design techniques in the, let's say, web pages or apps employed in user interfaces to manipulate or deceive users into taking certain actions or making specific choices online. These techniques are considered unethical and are deliberately designed to create confusion, exploit cognitive biases, and mislead users for the benefit of the platform or business using them. Examples of dark pattern include creating false sense of urgency, manipulating users into taking specific actions, trapping them into subscriptions, and employing continuous bothersome tactics. So these are let's say one of the dark pattern things. So regulation of dark patterns in India, this is important for us. To address the issue of the dark patterns, the Department of Consumer Affairs initiated the drafting of guidelines for their preservation and prevention and regulation. Okay, so objective is to clearly identify and define tactics and dark patterns, allowing the Ministry of Consumer Affairs to take action against platform engaging in such practices under the, this is important, Consumer Protection Act of 2019. All right, so it will basically minimize the use of these dark patterns. You can read rest in the notes. Okay, again, the next important thing is Vikram kicked up 2 tons of lunar dust, say scientists. So what is this lunar dust? Okay, so when Vikram lander of Chandrayaan 3 touched down the moon's surface, it kicked up a bunch of lunar dust and rocks, creating a bright area around the lander as was expected. As Vikram descended and subsequently touched down on the lunar surface, it triggered the activation of its descent stage thrusters. So what basically happened, that a lunar dust was kicked in, such as this, because of the thruster coming down. So this, the name is important, okay. So the top of surface of the lunar soil or regolith material, creating what scientists are now calling a reflectance anomaly or an ejecta halo. So this ejecta halo name is important. Okay, what is this ejecta halo? This lunar dust kicked by the Vikram lander. Here you can see in the picture, this is the Vikram lander here, and the lunar dust kicked by it. This is the Vikram lander. Okay, so lunar dust kicked here. This is known as the ejecta halo. Okay, let's move forward. So Mizoram has the highest cancer incidence rate in India. So Mizoram has highest cancer incidence in India despite being the second least populated state. So this you can use an introductory line whenever you are talking about non-communicable disease, etc. Okay, so here you can add in the notes. I'll quickly go through this. Coming to mapping portion is very important. So this is Arunachal Pradesh. This is Nagaland. This is Manipur. This is Mizoram. This is Tripura. Okay. This is Meghalaya. This is Assam. So in the news we are talking about the Mizoram. So it has higher cancer incidence rates. Hai na? Okay, let's move further very quickly. So state Mizoram, capital is as well. Population is approximately around this. Okay, official language we need to take a view at. It's Mizo. Neighboring states are Manipur, Tripura. This is Bangladesh is a country here, and Myanmar, Burma is also a country here. The formation Mizoram became the 23rd state of India in February 1987. Major cities are as well Lungei, Champai, and Sarchip. Okay, so this was about today's lecture. You can, I have not dictated everything written in the PDF because it would have taken us a lot of time and would get you bored, and let's see, you did not require it. So what I will do is to post this on our Telegram channel, that is Sarat Chandra IAS Academy. So you can access these all notes from there. These PDFs are copy pastable. You can just put the important portion, whatever you need, into your digital notes. Or you can simply get this PDF printed, just decrease their scale and get 2 pages printed at 1 page. Alright, so you can have 4 pages around on 1 page, both sides. So it will, let's say, result in very lesser pages consumed. Okay, so that's about it. You can read all these things and watch the lecture for very quick coverage. Thank you very much. This is Yatharth signing off. I'll see you in the next lecture. Have a very good day.